You're a visitor in their country, so act accordingly. It's almost like when I was a little boy. My grandmother used to always give us that briefing. When you go to somebody else's house, act like you got some sense. I know the excitement to be somewhere different, to take it all in.
The passport bro movement is on fire, and I saw it coming. Cause hey, I'm a brother been living overseas for the last 7 years, but now it's a phenomenon. It's not just older guys or retired guys like back in the early 2000s. Now you got young guys like Austin Holloman who are, catalyzing other young men, especially young black men, to get their passports. And typically brothers with passports tend to have, good income, stable jobs, or really good unique skills. But unfortunately, there has been the rise of the passport Pookie. And he's the Pookie in Ray Ray who gets in trouble overseas or causes problems that brings down, the image of the African-American male traveler. And so today I have a few videos dealing with the passport Pookies and the problems that they cause overseas. And we're gonna start off with our brother Ed Travels. Check his channel out. But let's see what he says about passport Pookies.
That being said, I've seen and experienced some of the things attributed to passport Pookie. I think that it's imperative that new travelers understand one thing above most. You're not in your country anymore.
Boom!
It's a totally different ball game. The rules don't apply as they normally would. The authorities in that country don't want to hear what it's like back in your hometown.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
You're on their playing field.
Right.
You're a visitor in their country.
Correct.
So act accordingly. It's almost like when I was a little boy. My grandmother used to always give us that briefing. When you go to somebody else's house, act like you got some sense. I know the excitement to be somewhere different, to take it all in. You go into a place where if you drink, you can get bottle service for $40. Where it's 500, 1,000 or more back where you from, and you want to get it in. I get that.
Right.
Beautiful women all over the place,
Right.
all this kind of things, and you want to get it in. But you've got to understand that you not only represent other black men and other black people, most importantly, you represent yourself.
Yep.
Act like you got some business about you.
Right.
And in my experience, I run into two types of these quote unquote passport Pookies. The humble young man that sits back and says, all right, bro, I got your big dog, OG, whatever. And then it's like, oh, all right, I got you. And I run into the one that's like, oh man, I ain't trying to, I ain't trying to hear you. I ain't trying to get with that, man, da 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 da. And to me, either one is fine because a hard head makes a soft behind.
Boom. I think that's the issue. And we have proof of that in the next video because a lot of brothers want to go over to these countries. You're acting a fool, you toss some money around, you taking videos of the ladies twerking and people feel bad there. You're starting fights, you're getting girls pregnant and stuff like that. And just basically ruining the image of a lot of brothers overseas. And I want to talk about that because Brother Duke and Don talked about that on his stream last night. And I want to check that video out while we're talking about it.
Thing. Out of those guys that do that, you got to break those down into two subsections, okay? There's a subsection of men who actually go down there and they go down there to seek wives. They go down there to build businesses. They go down there to basically set up a nice little infrastructure for themselves, and then they can keep it pushing, right? And then there's another subsection of group that go down there, they don't necessarily care about economy. They don't really necessarily care about infrastructure. They don't really necessarily care about a whole lot, right? They actually just care about getting box. And because the box down there is a lot easier to come by down there than the box in the States, okay? Now, the reason why is you got entitlement in the States.
Right.
So pussy is higher priced. The premium on pussy in the States because it's a first world country. But when you go to the third world, you get a discounted rate because it's a third world country. So there's even less of a premium. Why? Because I'm gonna tell you this, there's not a whole bunch of people in America flooding to Brazil for economic stimulation, okay? For businesses or all. There are not a whole lot of people doing that, okay? That's where a lot of young men should find opportunity, but a lot of young men aren't even doing that. The older men aren't doing that. Most businesses aren't really even going down there, right? The big business down there is tourism, particularly a certain type of tourism. It's called sex tourism, okay? And this is what the passport bros and the traveling bros, they absolutely hate. But I'm sorry, brothers, we gotta be honest about this, okay? It's sex tourism. And I know because these countries that a lot of these guys go to, the big part of their economy is sex tourism. Matter of fact, in some of these countries, it's almost 50% is sex tourism. A lot of these guys coming in from wealthy nations, right? They're basically fucking up the local economy for a lot of these people over there because their money goes further. So these subsection of men who are going in there for that piece itself, the sex tourism, that's fine. Because it's legal, it's their law, their countries, their rules. You can do whatever the fuck you want over there. The problem I have is that these are the same fucking niggas that go ahead and hide behind the other brothers who are going there to actually find wives, who are going there to actually build business and aren't thinking with their fucking little head. They're thinking with their minds. They're thinking with how can I create more opportunities for myself? How can I create more opportunities for my family? All these different things in a third world country. Because I'm gonna tell you this. It's not that America sucked. It's not that America is failing. It's that a lot of y'all don't have the perspective. See, I come from a different country. I come from Nigeria. So you can basically call it a third world, right? Because we got a lot of problems that we got to work through. But coming from a third world country, I understand the dualities. I understand that in a first world country, you're dealing with economies, right? You're dealing with economic situations, right? Women in the first world are simply gonna demand more because they have the bargaining power to do so. All right.
Boom. Again, he distinguishes two classes of guys. Now they're two different than what Ed has. Ed has the passport Pookies who will listen and then change, and then the ones that want to do their own thing. Brother here, Duke, has broke it down into, men who are actually coming to do something in those countries, which in my opinion are, less than 50%. And then you do have your other brothers that, tend to be problematic. I'm not saying they're always the case, but the business guys, always going to be a smaller class, right? And then what you hear from the arguments of these guys who are your passport Pookie guys is pretty much they're trying to do the same thing that if they could have done it in the United States, they would have. The problem is that they didn't qualify to do it at the same level that they can do it in other countries. If you go to countries in Africa, being an American, just having an American accent can get you in the door, won't keep you. But in America, having an American accent doesn't mean anything because everybody has an American accent, right? And so what happens is you have these guys who come in and can leave a bad taste in the mouth. Not all the guys, but I have a great example of this, of an actual passport Pookie on a live stream. And this is on Brother Black Male Travels channel. We're gonna go into that video and check it out. All right, guys, so this is my brother Black Male Travels, and he has a clip called The Return of Passport Pookie. Let's play the clip.
When I go to these countries, I get approached by the killers. I get approached by the drug dealers. And then they take me into their neighborhood. So when y'all, I go into the country like nothing. I don't wear chains. I carry limited money, and I carry a card that got limited money, and I go in there like I'm broke. So I get a different experience. I go in there and get hood experiences. I be in the hood in these dangerous ass places. People tell me the people that I'm with.
The fact that the killers and the drug dealers want you to be a part of them and you accept that, it says a lot about this particular. I mean, maybe the brother just, wants to just see things. He might not be a criminal, but it does sound like Pookieology to me, because I've never had nobody from, these bad neighborhoods or countries, killers and drug dealers, ever ask me to go be a part of nothing. Never. Let's continue.
People tell me the people that I'm with is a dangerous person, but they done brought me.
I would be real careful about moving like that, man. I know it's like, we all from the same elements, but I still would be careful because you're not from there, bro.
I don't really get involved in what they do. They bring me.
I really don't get involved. Are you sure?
They bring me along because I'm a cool person. Like I be around.
Once again, bro, you gotta watch that cool stuff, man. It's no cool in the hood, bro. It's all evil.
But
hey, bro, can I ask you a question, Napoleon? Are you smoking like this when you overseas in Honduras and these other places?
Yeah, because they give me.
So is your goal to be? Is your goal is to go to this other country and be taken to the hood? That's what you want? Is that your goal?
No, it's circumstances. Like I come into the country just to see whatever it is.
So let's say this, Napoleon. Rule 1 in traveling: don't go to nowhere internationally, just like you wouldn't. Where are you from? Indiana or somewhere like that, right? Midwest.
I'm from Akron, Ohio.
Okay, you from Akron, Ohio. In Akron, you just don't go outside and let anybody that comes along and say, "Oh, you're a cool dude," and take you to anywhere in Akron. That don't happen. So it has to be the same rules when you go to Honduras. You just don't go up to because they speak Spanish and sing humble, and just let them take you to the rawest hoods in the world. So rule 1, we have standards, and you way off code with that. You risking your life by just let somebody lead you around.
Yeah.
Listen,
You really are, bro. You really are.
That's not a badge
so
of
I'm not
honor.
gonna play it, but remember, he's the passport Pookie that Ed Travels was talking about. Like, he's always trying to justify he doesn't want to listen. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. So whatever you telling him not to do, he just pretty much saying he gonna do his own thing anyway. And you have these guys that are coming in. This is the reason why a lot of times, instead of me going to Brazil or the DR or Colombia, I kind of shied away from those places because of brothers that I've heard like him that tend to be, and I don't know if I'm not saying the guy is a bad person, but they just have a bad reputation once, even if he goes something happens, right? He didn't do it. Somebody gets shot or something. They're gonna blame him because you're a foreigner. Anything can happen to you, you know what I'm saying? And they can stick you up for it because you're not from there. You don't know what's going on. You can be hurt in the process. But again, he's a brother that no matter what you tell him, he gonna have a response for it. And that's what's going on with the passport Pookies. A lot of passport Pookies are making it bad for black men. That's why in places that I move or go to, I make sure the neighborhoods I'm staying at, it's a certain amount of money you gotta spend to be there. Certain cities I go to, I make sure that it's a certain amount of money for you to be there. And I never run into passport Pookies where I'm at. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy Shay Duke Jackson. Back at again the episode of Fair Use. We're out. Peace.